Hey, what's going on? Welcome, I'm Michael, the Leo Mystic, your astrologer, and I want to thank you so much for being here. And in this video, I really want to get clear on what astrology is, what it is not, and why it is so cool. So first, let me tell you that I was there too. In 2016, I just got to uh, understand a little bit of astrology, and I took a retreat with Kaipacha Lesher, who is an amazing astrologer, by the way. I would urge you to check him out. And I had my birth chart, right, which is the position of the planets when you are born, a snapshot of it, and then the astrologer translates these symbols to human language. That's what we do as astrologers, right? We interpret the energy, which you can read on a map, like a blueprint from a house, and see, okay, this is what that means, and that is what that means, and that's probably how you be that way. Anyway, so I got my birth chart read, and I was blown away. I was blown away. Here's this person that is interpreting my chart, telling me who I am exactly on the spot. Now, you could say, well, astrology is so general that anything would do, right? But that's the misconception that people have. Astrology is not general, okay? The misconception comes from horoscopes. Now, I actually am not a fan of horoscopes. That's like cookbook astrology, as one of my teachers would say. Now, it does have a valid point, but I would say horoscopes are for, more advanced astrologers even to interpret and to understand. So it doesn't do any good for people to read their horoscope because it only confuses and it's so general. So it is not general. So what is astrology then? Let's start with the basics. Well, as I already said, we have, right, planets in the skies that are moving, or in the sky that are moving. So we have Jupiter, we have Saturn, we have Mars, we have Venus, we have Mercury, all the planets that are in our solar system. Now, we astrologers, we call the sun and the moon also planets. So when I say the sun planet, it's not a planet. Okay, I know it's a star, but it's just for easiness sake. So all these planets, okay, they have a representation of our psyche, of our being. So this is the saying, as above, so below. What that basically means is that whatever is happening in the skies is a physical representation of what is going on here on Earth and within us. Now, how do we know that? Well, first and foremost, a good scientist goes and explores and asks questions and is very critical and observes and correlates to make its conclusion. So we have done that for pretty much thousands of years since, the first recorded astrology was in Babylon, and that was, I think it was around 3000 BC, but forgive me if I'm completely wrong. I forgot it for the moment. But anyway, Babylon times. It's about 5,000 years ago. That's recorded. So who knows? There's even paintings on, walls of caves, 12,000 years ago, where we were observing the moon. So, we have looked at the sky for an explanation here on Earth. Now, that is the very empirical science, right? And so we could say, well, if we correlate and we observe, and we've done it for thousands of years, every single day, we have quite a good record to make that comparison, right? But here's more to it. Now science is also catching up with that, and especially theories like quantum physics and I'm not going to go all scientific on you. But what I want to say is that quantum physics really shows that we are interconnected, that we all exist out of the same material, right? And even Carl Sagan says we're all stardust. Okay, so we come from the same material. Now, science has shown that what once was matter will always be connected. So that's also quantum entanglement. Anyway, without going too difficult and too scientific, we are interconnected and we are all one. And this is a theory based upon that we're all consciousness, and that every single part that is out there is a reflection of you. Okay? So when everything is interconnected, everything is an energetic pattern, a field. It's also called the field, a web, right? And so that's what the universe truly is. Universe, one song. And I like to call it one story, because a story is just a beginning and an end, right? Now, this is how the universe is constantly changing, developing, transforming, and it's constantly telling a new story. And we can see that in the patterns of all these shifts. So basically, when, let's say, you get up in the morning and you get out of bed and you brush your teeth, you get down, get breakfast, get to work, and you do your thing. That becomes your story. That becomes something in your life that you're living. So these movements of the planets are constantly doing the same thing over and over, right? These are cycles. And so every part of us is connected with the universe. So then we would have to see, well, what is going on in the skies? So if you look at the old model of atoms and molecules, well, we have in the middle, right, we have the proton, and then we have electrons around it, right? And so what is going on is, right, we have these planets that are moving around the sun, and we could even say that the sun then is that proton, and that the planets are the electrons. Now, that's an old model, right? But again, I don't want to get too technical on you. Just follow along. Is that, well, if we exist out of atoms and molecules, and these molecules make up our cells, and cells make up tissue, and tissue makes up organs, and organs make up systems of the body, and systems of the body make up the human body, well, then it becomes easier to see that what we don't see is there, even if we don't see it. So these molecules at a very micro level are what the planets are at a macro level. So then, when we see outside, everything outside of us is a mirror, is mirroring to us who we are, what we come here to do, what we haven't learned yet, what lessons we might learn even more, even better. So in these planets out there in the universe, they are like these molecules. They're these big atoms and molecules, if you would like. And so then, because of that observation correlation, we know that planets, for instance, like the moon, right, they are linked to our emotions. Why? Well, we know that the moon is linked to the cycles of water, and we are made up out of 75 to 80% of water. So the moon has a direct impact on us, but then that's not the only thing, because that's mostly what people say about astrology. Oh yeah, the moon. Yeah, I understand the cycles of the moon have impact because they can see it. But it goes beyond the physical. We also have seen cycles of the moon. The moon goes so fast, right? It takes 27 days to move around the Earth. that it has to do with our mood changes, because every 2.5 days the moon changes a sign. So these are our emotions. Our emotions change constantly, and they're linked to the cycles of the moon. And so we can look at every planet having a characteristic that is made up, or that makes us up, literally. You can take that quite literal. These energies that are available in the universe, of which planets are a representation, that's how it builds us up. And that makes us our story. You have a different story than I. You tell yourself other things. Because one of the reasons is, when you were born with a certain energetic blueprint. Now, last thing I want to say about that is that you have free will. Because you can say, your astrological chart when you were born, well then, if that's your blueprint and you're born with it, then that's fate, because, you are a victim to that chart. You will always be like that. And that is simply not true. That's another misconception that people have from astrology. We live in a participatory universe. This is a quote even by John Wheeler, who is a colleague of Albert Einstein, and a good friend. So we live in a participatory universe where we co-create with our environment. So environmental conditions, where you grow up, have an impact on you. These environmental conditions, they are your home, they are your family, your friends, your culture you grew up in, and it goes as far as the world. How is the world thinking and perceiving things? And that influences you. So, and then you also have your evolutionary state of consciousness. How, awake are you in terms of looking around you? Because that's what spirituality is, right? Being awake. And it simply means that you are aware, conscious of what is going on around you, and you are aware of your actions on your environment, the impact of that, what you say and that impact, and what you think even, and how that impacts your environment. And spirituality is also how you feel in terms of energy, the energy that you get when you do something. When you get a lot of energy, then you're on your spirituality. So spirituality is not something airy-fairy. It is something very practical, and it is our life. It is being life. It is the spirit moving through you. Inspirare, expirare. Breathe in, breathe out. Inspire, expire. And so that is truly what astrology is. It is a tool to measure the current energy, because that's what the universe is made up of. Consciousness, energy. And astrology just looks at the energetic patterns, the blueprints, and translates it. It uses symbols. That's why, I'm a translator, interpreter from background, Spanish, German, and Dutch. And that's why I believe I was really, when I got into it, I became better and better, because I understood what translation and interpretation is, truly. So when you look at these symbols, you translate them, and it just tells you something about the current energy available. And that's all there is to it. It is not the truth. It is a truth, and it is a tool to be used. And there are many thousands of tools. I like to use astrology to help people decide for themselves, to help them step into their power, and to use it so that they can have a mirror as into, okay, well, this is what's going on in my environment. This is what the energy is. And what does it mean for me? How do I experience it? How do I feel it and sense it? So it is a tool really to develop your intuitive abilities. And so that's what astrology is, and that's what it is not. And why it is so cool is simply because when you understand and start reading astrology, you understand your environment and you get to see and observe, and it develops your compassion, it develops your love, your awe, it develops a certain kind of knowing, and you see that there is a reason behind things, that everything is made up out of laws and not mere coincidence, that science is the way to go. So thank you so much. I hope this video was clear enough. I hope it wasn't too difficult. And let me know, what did you learn about this video? How was it for you? Was it clear enough? Do you want me to explain something different? You know, we're here to help each other, to grow together, to clear things out, to be in awe of the world around us, to support one another, because we are one another. Just different stories, but we come from the same storyteller. That's at least what I believe. So anyway, thank you so much. Much love. See you in one of my astrological forecasts on YouTube or on my MailChimp newsletter. Much love. Thank you so much.